Welcome to But Are There Dragons, a podcast where two friends pick a book at least one of them hasn't read and talk about it. I'm your host, Kritter.
And I'm your host, Jess.
And we're here to talk about the first half of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, chapters 1 through 35. As first-time readers, neither of us has read any Iron Flame, and all we know about the series is what we just read in Fourth Wing in our last couple of episodes. So it's very fresh. It's very exciting. Jessica, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm into it. I'm ready to talk about it with you.
Yeah, same. What else is new other than Iron Flame things?
I mean, we're doing summer things, right? It's summertime, and we are all, or at least in our house, trying to compromise between beating the heat but enjoying summer while it's here.
Yeah, I see that you've got a certain shirt on. You did something super fun last week.
I did.
Tell the audience.
I can. For those who can't see, I am wearing a Critical Role Live shirt. They were in Indianapolis, which is very drivable from where Mr. and Mrs. Jessica live. So we took a little road trip to Indianapolis for the first time. We did not go to Gen Con this time. However, I do imagine that will happen at some point. But it was a big deal. Mr. Jessica introduced me to Critical Role, and it also is their 10-year anniversary. So it was very cool. It was super fun. There was a venue of about 7,500 Kritter fans.
Wow.
And it's C Kritter instead of K Kritter.
So I was thinking, like, can I make a joke about this? But no.
Yes. I mean, I bet you could pack a stadium if you really tried.
I have to figure out my talent first, but we'll get there.
Well, I mean, you could bring Baby Dragon, and that would definitely draw a crowd.
He is pretty fabulous, the Baby Dragon. Yeah. He just started standing up by himself. You know, one of those, like, he stands up and he's like, and then he falls over. It's like the cutest thing in the world. And if you're just listening and not watching, what I did was hold my arms up as if I'm balancing and then wiggle a lot. Because that's what he looks like. It's really cute.
As only delicious chunky toddlers can do. It's amazing. I can't wait.
Exactly. So he's amazing. We're moving. So if you're watching, this probably will be the last recording I ever make at this setup like this. I'm excited to change my setup, but also incredibly daunted because there's a lot going on behind me, and a lot of, like, it has changed. It has many iterations over time, and I don't even know if I'm going to be, like, in a corner versus in front of a flat wall. I haven't decided any of it. I know, like, what the room looks like, but I just haven't decided anything. So we'll see what my setup looks like here in a month.
It's exciting, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But you might still be there for the last half of this book.
I'll physically be here, but my backdrop, because we're gonna have to paint this room because it's gonna be covered in holes.
It's seen some mileage.
Yeah, it's seen some mileage. This is easily gonna be the worst room for, like, needing wall repair. So yeah, I'm gonna in haste with earnest. I don't know how to say it. I'm gonna be getting after that soon. So I don't know which backdrop I'm gonna choose for our next recording because I'll be in this house, but there's not gonna be a lot in this house, so it might just be a blank wall. We'll see.
Definitely exciting stuff.
It is. So you know what else is exciting? Iron Flame. So I told my Discord this, but I read it once, like at my normal speed, which is about, I think, 1 and 1.5 speed with this narrator. And then where it ended, which, like, we'll talk about, but, well, I guess we can talk about it because it's full spoilers. Where it ended, where it's like Xaden and Dane working together to free Violet from the evil torture man. What? And that's how it ended.
But I mean, let's just take a moment to enjoy not one but two books in a row where we have completely out of pure circumstance picked stellar cliffhanger spots. Like, I think we'll stop here.
Wild. Although part of me now is like, is this a strategy of authors to be like, oh, you're not going to stop halfway through this book. Let me show you what happens halfway through this. You know, like maybe it's not us. Maybe it's them trying to get us. Maybe that's a formula that we're becoming wise to, or yeah, becoming wise, falling victim.
Either way.
Same vibes. So I could not believe that was how it ended. And that I couldn't keep reading because we have to maintain our non-spoiled selves.
It's hard.
And so I read it again at 2 times speed, just immediately. So I've read it twice, technically. I've read the first half twice because I was just like, first of all, I need to make sure I remember things. And secondly, I want to keep reading this book. So I'm just going to keep reading this book in the way that I can. So how did you feel at the end?
So unusually for me, so normally I'm the one that's done earlier and has to reread as well. This time I didn't. I finished this chapter today, and I fell asleep during chapter 34 last night, which is wild because it was so action-packed, but it just, my body couldn't stay up any longer. So I finished 35 today, and I was just genuinely excited that I don't have to wait long. Because I was like, oh, this would have really sucked if I had finished this 2 weeks and had to, cool my jets. So
yeah, I tell you what's really easy, reading audiobooks while you're packing, right? Mindless activity, put in some headphones, and wow, you can really eat a book quickly. And I did. So here we are. I want to say something because I can't wait any longer, but remember during Fourth Wing when I, in passing, said, I want to say that I never believe somebody is dead until I see a body.
So let's talk about it. Because we had not just one.
Nope.
But two.
Two. And I said that in reference to not just one, but two.
But two.
When Jack Mother Barlow went down with the mountain, I was like, I already predicted Brandon's not dead, so I feel repetitive, but
where's the body?
Where's the body? And you know what happened? They brought him back. And part of me is like, so did they bring him back to life? He called it soul mending.
I don't know. I don't understand the healing powers here very well. So between even just the way Violet was healed at the end of the first book, and why was she kind of disconnected from her power for a little while during the healing process. So there's definitely some mechanics at play with the way that they heal in this world that I don't feel like I have a good grasp on. But I was like, how is he not a zombie? And then also, because we are full spoilers for the first half of the book, he's so changed. And is it a show or is it real?
And he's making us think that it's real because he literally saved her life.
That's wild.
So, was his soul corrupted, and when it got mended, he became less of a psychopath? And I don't. That's total.
I mean, that's an aspect of healing, right?
I would maybe. I mean, because he was completely messed up in the brain, evil and probably sociopathic, and now he's back and he's nice and he's tutoring first years on the mat and he's saving Violet and he's giving weird sup nods to Violet. It's perplexing. And the biggest question that I had, because I loved being right, but I also don't love not knowing why they would mend him when so many other cadets die daily. And he was dead. You know what I mean? I would at least.
But why him?
But why him? Who made the decision? Why did they make that decision? I hope we find that out, because if we don't, it's going to feel very random and just kind of annoying.
Yeah, I kind of lost that in the shuffle, but that's an excellent point. Because what what's so great about him, other than the fact that he was ready to do murder just standing in line. So, I mean, is that the sole qualification for him to be part of their plan?
I have no idea. It's gonna confuse me until they explain it. And
Yep.
yeah, because why? Just why? And obviously don't tell me, because spoilers if we do find out eventually. But if we don't find out, it's gonna be one of my big
Critter's going to stay up all night and hack and finish this book.
I don't want to say that that's not true, but I have been like getting in bed and like having it in my ear, while I'm like, okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn it off at 10:30 and then I'll actually go to sleep. And then it'll be like 10:35 and I'll be like, damn it. Okay, I'm really going to do it. So, that's one thing about these books. Like, they make you want to keep reading. They're not hard reads. They're not complicated reads.
Nope.
But they're fun. They're really fun.
So again, coming at it from the perspective of I just caught up, about 3 hours before we're recording this, aspects of this book, I am less focused on its kind of a mid-level right to the parts of the book that really have grabbed me. So these last 2-3 chapters were very action-packed, and it was really hard to put it down. Yeah. So we're in the midst of some really good stuff. And there were definitely some choices that the writer made through the first half of this book that engaged me as well. I've got a couple of top 5 moments, but like, there are just some choices that she made in the writing that I don't know if I'm just becoming more accustomed to her writing, and the things that take me out, I just kind of ignore them and move on. Maybe that's what's happening. But
there was one. So are you ready for my one that completely took me out of the entire book? Twice. It happened twice. The first time I didn't write it down because I was like, what was that? And then I just kept reading. I kept listening. The second time I paused it because I was like, I thought that's what I heard last time. And the fact that this is real is insane. So this is what I wrote down. His lips slid down my throat. Now, if I'm reading that, the image that comes to mind is a disembodied pair of lips proceeding down the esophagus. That's what I slid down my throat. In this instance, and she does this with several words that I've noticed, but in this instance, I would expect her to say neck. But instead she said throat. So huge.
That's so funny too, because I definitely noticed it in the moment and had to go back and reread it. And then I was like, oh, neck.
She also uses head when I would expect the word mind. Like, for example, Zayden will say something along the lines of, what's going on in that beautiful head of yours? And I know that's not nearly as egregious, but it just, mind is like a little bit more romantic, or I don't know. Head is just, it's in the same way that she uses mouth instead of lips. Everything's mouth, not lips. And so I just need to, I just beg to differ when it comes to some of the word choices that she makes. And somehow it's body parts for some reason. I don't know. But the biggest, most egregious one was easily throat instead of neck. That was a wild choice. So, dear listeners, if you have any other things that took you out of the story because of the choices made by the author, wording wise, I would love to hear them, because honestly, at this point, it just kind of makes me laugh. It's just, choice of the author. And those are just not choices I would make. So I would respectfully decline if my love interest offered to slide his lips down my throat.
It doesn't even sound like a nice thing. It does not sound like a thing you want somebody to do.
It's like whenever they test for oh my gosh,
like
what
a
is it?
Barium swallow?
Is that what it is? Like whenever they're testing for what's it called? Whenever you have acid
reflux?
Yeah, when they're testing for reflux. They slide like a camera down your
Yeah, that's a scope. Or
Uh-huh.
barium swallow is they make you swallow the contrast so they can see what's happening.
I might as well just send a pair of lips down there to feel it out.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. Okay,
Still no.
we can definitely move on. I just anyways.
I do think that it's interesting, though, and that was definitely my takeaway today as I was percolating while I was cooking, because I frequently process my read while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
That was definitely something that was on my mind. Is I'm not 100% sure what is me just becoming accustomed to her style, and is this book a little bit smoother, a little bit.
I do think it happened less, where I was like, what? What?
And of course, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right? Like a little bit of both.
Probably.
But I did not find it as jarring this time. And I feel like I'm excited. I'm just as excited, if not more excited, to read the second half of this book as I was with Fourth Wing.
Easily. Yeah. I think this one had a lot of elements to it that I really dug. You know, I don't know, it feels like there's just more going on. And maybe it's because a lot of books have they suffer somewhat from you having to kind of settle in, get to know the environment, get to know the world, get to know the characters. And so there's a transition period of you entering the world. We're in the world already. So we just dropped right in and got moving. And maybe that helped, because I feel like a lot happened in the first half of this book, right? They were, she engaged with Brennan, they were off with the rebels, and they had to come back, and they had to like convince everyone why they were gone, and there's just like, and then it just, you know, we met Varish, and he's torturing people, and they have that, what, RNC or whatever the hell it's called, RSC, and you know, there's just like different things happening constantly. It's very fast paced, which I thought was great. And the RSC is a fun addition, I think. Like,
it is. I liked the call out, and I'm sure this was done for the benefit of the reader. Well, that's kind of a dumb thing to say. Everything's done for the benefit of the reader, right? But there was an offhand comment made in one of the chapters about how, I'm going to paraphrase it because I didn't even highlight it, but basically second years just know enough to be dangerous. Like they know enough to know what they didn't understand when they were first years about why the gauntlet was important and why threshing was important and why these different maneuvers were important. Like they get it now in context, but they still don't know as much as third years, but they think they know enough that they were okay. And that resonated with me as the reader. Like, I do feel like the stakes have been elevated. I do feel like that energy and emphasis and danger has elevated for this book. For whatever reason, this time around, it was more in my head about lots of unexpected comparisons to Hogwarts vibes. And I'm not sure if that was like left off over from a conversation, but I was like, you know, Hogwarts did get dangerous. Hogwarts was probably always dangerous, but I feel like we went from 0 to 60 on the danger scale here, versus I felt like Hogwarts was a slowly boiling pot across the course of 7 books.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because we asked people for like questions, right, or like topics of discussion, and we got some from a good friend of ours, Roof Mistress Leia, and one of the comments she made is that Varish is basically Professor Umbridge punishing Violet by nearly burning her out, and it's basically just classic Hogwarts magical school with corporal punishment.
and the you know, superficially polite exterior, as I do like truly horrible things,
because
under the guise of being your educator.
I didn't even notice, but like late in this read, Violet says, "I saw Varish frown for the first time," and I was like, "Does that mean he's just like maniacally smiling at you?" Like I didn't pick that up either time. Actually, I noticed it for the first time towards the end of my second read. I was just like, "Oh, so he is Professor Umbridge."
Yeah,
basically.
It's terrible. The other thing that I, especially about Varish, with this book, I definitely noticed it in the other book, is it epithets that are the quotes that go before the chapter. Why am I drawing a blank on the word?
You know what?
It's not epitome.
I mean, epithet is a word, but now I'm not sure what the word is. I'm gonna go.
So I, as and probably most of our But Other Dragons family knows, like having read Brandon Sanderson, for example, I like those little snippets that happen before the chapter. I like to look at those. And as this book opened, it opened with a comment about how
Epigraph.
epigraph. Okay, I knew it was epi.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the first epigraph, I believe, on the first chapter was regarding Varish and how he was not allowed to do interrogations anymore because his methods were too controversial or too brutal. And so what a great bit of foreshadowing. But that stuck out to me. So different things like that. The other thing about the epigraphs that I really love, and this is one of the things that I had as like my top 5 vibes from the first half of the book. I like the letters. I like that he wrote her letters, and I liked them being used as epigraphs. And there was even an epigraph in there that was her reply to him. So I like the pen pal. And I'm sure it's just the nerd girl in me, but it is so wholesome.
Yeah.
And it is a method of communication without guile for them. And I love that.
Yeah. I feel like it's, if she put Fourth Wing to a focus group or something, I was like, what's missing in their relationship? It's sweetness. I don't know. Maybe that's what she got back. And so now these notes are inserting an element of sweetness, I think. And it's funny because it's not just the fact that he's writing to her or the contents of the letters, but it's also her reaction to them, right? Like, I can't remember, was it, I forgot her name now. This is horrible.
Imogen or
Imogen.
Rhiannon?
Yeah, Imogen's like commenting like you're grinning like an idiot or something like that after she got one of the letters. And like Violet mentioned how, she wasn't having nightmares or something after she got the letter and all this stuff. And it's just that sweetens their relationship for sure, because it's like been so like sexual, right? It's been so physical, especially in the first book, although even though they did
sexual and turbulent and competitive at certain points, and there's I don't want to say deception because I don't necessarily agree with that take, but yeah, so it's nice for them to have something that is pure, something that is easy, something that is just a little bit more wholesome.
Yeah, so we're talking about their relationship, so let's talk about their relationship.
Sure.
How do you feel about this cat and mouse? He wants her to say those 3 words. Apparently he's never said them before, which to me feels like a double standard, but then she also is mad at him for his telling her that he can't tell her everything, even though I could have swore at the end of Fourth Wing he said he was going to tell her everything. And so now I'm just like, what are, like, these people are driving me nuts with like latching on to these ultimatum style deal breakers that turn out not to be deal breakers, because like they ended up having sex anyways, probably for the reader, because this is romantasy and they wanted to make sure they got it on. But just like ultimately, I don't know, it's just driving me nuts, because like Violet, for example, was not telling all of her friends almost anything.
Yep.
And it's like, so that's okay when you do it, but not when Xaden does it, because he was trying to like protect you and a bunch of people by not telling you, and now you're trying to protect them, and it's okay. It's just, anyways, Violet was driving me nuts, but Xaden also, it was making me mad that he's never said I love you to her, and he wants her to say it to him. Where are you at with this?
So I'm pretty well aligned with that. I kind of figured like this is the crux of their struggle. So I knew that we weren't going to get away from this anytime soon, unfortunately, or I highly suspected it would be a while.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of patience for it, mostly because I think that it's a huge double standard, as you're pointing out. And also, I think that I was personally glad when Xaden's like, there's going to be things I just can't tell you. I was glad that he kind of drew that line, because if that's the nature of your relationship, then say that up front.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that out in the open. There are going to be secrets. I can be honest with you about who I am, and et cetera, et cetera. I liked that approach. I also did not like the until you beg for it, because that's what that felt like. So I don't care if you wrap it in I love you, the not until you beg for it trope. Nope, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there when they finally had a sex scene, like in the shower, I guess was the first one. I was just like, okay. Like I feel like there's a lot. I haven't read a ton of romance books, but the ones that I have read have done, or just romance at all. I read 50 Shades like back when it was a huge thing. I feel like the anticipation is great sometimes, right? You're like, oh my god, it's finally happening. This is so exciting. In this case, I was like, okay, okay, cool. I don't really care about this. Like, not super invested. Just because of how they got there, I guess. I don't know. It just didn't really land for me. I think I don't know. I think the sex scenes in the first book were better than this one that we've had so far. Or did we have two? I can't even remember. They weren't even that memorable.
I feel like we had two. We might have had two. Like when she came to see him in Samara. Maybe.
Well, she thought that was the one where she thought he was like hurt, right? And they went to the shower and did their thing.
Yep, so it might have been just one. I agree, like it doesn't do a lot. So I do understand, and I agree with you 100% that sometimes the anticipation of it is great. I think the only thing for me is it marked the fact that she's willing to start moving beyond or soften on her hard line that she's drawing about him and him lying to her, which I gotta stop with the air quotes today.
Yeah,
I think very rude of me.
The way they got there maybe was part of the issue. Whereas like, okay, you guys are all just like, I don't know. He still hasn't said I love you, but he thinks he knows that she does love him, which is making it better. I don't know.
And she's just lying to everybody.
Lying to everybody.
We didn't really talk about it, but the whole point. So I'm an only child, and it really shows sometimes. So the concern about Brennan being alive and how conflicted she felt about not telling Mira.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those moments where I was like, oh shoot. Yeah. Like if you didn't tell me, I'd be furious.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think like
how you'd feel,
how I would handle it. Yeah. Cause it's like, first of all, blood is thicker than water. I don't know, like family is important, and she loves Mira. Like Mira and her are like this, and they were all three like this. And so I feel like in that sense, like those people are your ride or dies. I can't believe she didn't tell her, honestly. But I guess she kind of like tried to a little bit by doing the like kind of insinuating that the dragons across the border could be wyvern. Right, and Mira kind of was like, "You're a little off your rocker."
There was no crumb trail to drop. Like Brennan might just happen to oopsie be alive.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's like the fact that also she didn't tell Mira, but then one of my top 5 moments was when she finally effing told her friends.
Rhiannon,
I was so. Just like, just tell him. Why can't you not tell him? Rhiannon is like, girlfriend, tell me whenever you're ready. I'm ready to talk to you. Like, she's never done anything to make Violet think that she couldn't be trusted, and she took so long. And the way that it happened was she basically only told her because she had to get that dagger out of her jacket, and Rhiannon was the one who did it, right? God knows how much longer it would have been. And lo and behold, she tells them, and almost immediately she finds out information that she didn't have that was unbelievably clutch for her research project.
So that's the one that I wrote down. What was it? Is it Riddick?
Riddick, that's right.
Riddick, I think he said, he's like, wait, do I know something about the archives that you don't? And it was such a hilarious beat. I'm like, I don't care. I love that. That's a great moment.
That was.
Having known some library know-it-alls in my time, heck yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, it was great. And the fact that led up to another one of my favorite moments of my top 5, which was the heist. I'm a sucker sucker for a heist. And the fact that
Mm-hmm.
we got a heist was really fun. And it ended with like a sprint to the finish with like a
Yeah.
closing doors. Very Indiana Jones. Big fan.
And I feel like it was a well done heist. I thought that
Yeah.
it was great. I love the pursuit of knowledge, and I love the fact that the mystery of this revolves around um, record keeping and history and things like that. I do. Maybe I am a little bit more anti-establishment than I realize, but I like the underlying resistance tones of, the winners write history, or they curate it at minimum, and what the impact is of that, and how they can whitewash certain things or remove certain things from their existence, and what that would look like. Trying to go back and find ancient stories. So I took notes. It's the first thing under my predictions header, but I'm like, this is not a prediction. So Venin were eradicated in the Great War 600 years ago.
Okay.
But the stories were changed 400 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or would they think they were, based on what Violet's seeing and stuff. So finding a book that's greater than 400 years old is really, really hard. So, what happened in those intervening 200 years, whatever powers at large in the world that is, marshaling the Venin and the Wyverns and things like that, was in slumber for like 200 years. And then they somehow infiltrated the archive system and started to slowly work on removing any signs of their backstory or their ultimate demise. Pretty wild.
Okay. Yeah. It's the fact that they have been purged. It's sus. It's interesting.
It's very sus.
Yeah, there's so
and
much.
That was another piece of writing that was in this book that I liked, is the pamphlet situation that happened in the class. I thought it was very informative.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that right away they looked for things to authenticate that it was a real document. They were like, there's no publishing date. There's no this, or this. I was like,
good for
but
you.
Whoever's got a printing press, at certain points in history, the stories aren't regulated.
Yeah.
Anybody with a printing press can make a press release.
So I guess we never found out who disseminated that.
No.
Do you have a prediction about that?
I think that it was Farish.
Oh.
I do. A lot of my prediction is around basically all of my prediction is around the fact that the oral histories, so there was reference somewhere in there that there are several cultures who have predominantly oral histories. And it sounds like, I don't know if it was the Poramish or it was another society that was mentioned, but they were like, we don't keep books, you know what I mean? So we didn't have anything to send to the archives. It was all predominantly an oral history tradition. So I'm like, my big prediction is that somehow what they need is tied up in an oral history of a country that they're probably trying to dominate, decimate, whatever.
That's a good... I didn't even put that together, but you're right. They did make that comment about the oral histories, and that would be a threat to the people trying to suppress information.
And then jumping off of that, I was like, so I'm hoping that along with this cache of oral knowledge, there's also a cache of like other people who prepared, knew the story, and are ready to go. Like insta allies. Be cool.
That would be cool. Okay. Interesting. So
that's my probably biggest prediction so far in this book.
So also, speaking of like people who can help, right? And I can't remember the name of all of this stuff, but we find out that the resistance is trying to convince some dude to like let them use some thing that's not like fully in effect yet, right? It sounds like Violet's power could be used to power this forge or whatever, this machine.
Are you talking about the luminary?
The luminary. What the hell is that? I read it twice and I'm still like, what is this thing?
So I'm not sure that I understand either. Hold on. Control F is my friend. Aricia is working on a forge to smelt the dagger, which requires a luminary, which intensifies the dragon fire so it's hot enough to smelt the special metal that goes in the daggers.
So it is, okay, so it is kind of like a dagger forge, essentially.
But and then whatever conversation Xaden had, the person's willing to bargain, but the bargaining chip somehow is Violet.
Right. That's right. Because when I first heard like he needs you, I was like, okay, so is it because her power is the only thing that can power it, or?
Yeah, no, they made it sound like he is a collector of oddities, and
which reminds me of the Collector in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, I absolutely was getting Marvel vibes from that.
Right. Okay, so that's something that's floating out there as well, that we're eventually, although Violet needs to get a whole week of leave in order to get to this guy's place, so we'll see how that works.
And she seems to have zero misgivings whatsoever. Like, no reservations, no concern. Just absolutely, I'm going to go hang out with a stranger.
Yeah, I may not be able to aim my lightning, but who cares?
Yeah.
Like, okay, Violet, whatever.
And he believes, that Karis is looking to capture Violet or hold her against her will, and then use her signet for some unknown purpose.
So yeah, we've talked a little bit about Violet and some of the things she's done that have made us mad. But she's also had some really excellent moments. So another one of my favorite moments this read was her and Sloane. Is that right? When she poisons Sloane's competitor, and she's like kind of cluing in her other people, like the second year and third years around her, not really all of them, but like her besties, Imogen and Rhiannon, and then at the end, Sloane's like, I won fair and square. And she's like, no, you did not. Listen up. Like,
that's not what happened.
You need to train, and this is how I'm going to force you to train. I have these letters, and every week that you train, I'll give you one of them. And it's just, and then Imogen is like, wow, I see what Xaden fell in love with. And it was just another testament to how Violet is incredibly smart. There are so many things that happen between her and Xaden that I'm like, girl, my God, what are you doing? But with other things, she's awesome, and that was one of those things, I thought.
It's a dichotomy, I guess, of being a hormone-driven young person, maybe.
Yeah.
Although
21?
She is 21, I'm like...
I mean, the frontal lobe still hasn't developed, so like, okay.
I mean, it has in women, though. That's
I thought it was 25 for everybody.
No, that's men.
That is news to me. So she should be.
She should be engaging a little bit more. And I think she is. I think that, the easy out is that the power of her relationship with Xaden is so overwhelming that it overwhelms her common sense. But I do like it when we see her be incredibly intelligent.
Yeah. Same. And just like strong. So we haven't really talked about the torture scenes, but for some reason she gets to get tortured twice. First in the practice round or whatever. Yeah. But that one didn't seem as bad. But then
definitely not.
But then holy hell, she got really, really tortured the second time around. And she killed it. Sorry, go ahead. She did.
No, sorry. I just was like, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. Before I say, how did you feel about Liam hallucination being her buddy through torture?
I don't know what's realistic, I guess. Never been tortured, haven't looked into it much. But I can imagine being in that much pain and having no likelihood of escape, right? No real hope that people will develop coping mechanisms, and that felt like a really solid one, right? Because the things that he was saying to her, it was basically what she knew because of all of her training she was supposed to be remembering, and having that external vehicle in order to give it to her was a cool and smart, even if it was a subconscious method of doing that.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I really liked it. It was very sweet and poignant and resonated with me more than I kind of thought it would. I was like, oh, it's a little bittersweet having it be Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we first opened up onto it, I was like, well, but we did see that body. Okay, so never mind that. But
yeah, he's definitely dead.
Unless there's soul mending happening with his body that we don't know about.
Right. True.
So I really liked it. I was actually kind of surprised how much I liked it.
Yeah. I think the writing in that, sorry, you go ahead.
No, that was basically it. Like I liked it far more than I expected.
Yeah, I think the writing in that sequence was some of the best writing, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if it was the combination of the writing and the audiobook narrator, but the way she played it, the way it was written, it was very visceral. Like I felt like I was watching this happen. It was totally something I could picture. Just yeah, I don't know, like the audiobook narrator would be like breathless at times, or like would talk more quietly when Violet was like just waking up or whatever. And so it was really well done. Very, very well done.
Even as a physical read, it was quite the page turner. Like I just couldn't stop.
Yeah. And both times they called Dane in. Both times he surprised me.
Yeah.
First time he said, no, she's injured, so I can't. I just can't. And then he left. Second time, pulled the old switcheroo.
The second time I let myself hope. I was like, please tell me. First off, I thought it was brilliant that Liam/Violet was talking herself through, like, you don't have the defenses to keep him out, so you can do your best to make sure you know what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And that he sees stuff that he needs to know. I thought that was brilliantly done. But yeah, I let my hopes get up. Even though, it's Dave, I let myself get my hopes up. So I was very happy when he turned on Varish. Very happy.
I kept, like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, here we like he's gonna see her tortured, and like they had that moment on the mat where he was like trying to get to her and being like, you know who actually cut Xaden, right? Did he tell you that? Like he was trying to get to her, and I was like, okay, whatever. He like wants to be your friend. He didn't know what would happen. He still sucks, but okay. And then the second time, I was like, okay, he's trying to do this olive branch thing, but then he told Varish about the weapon smuggling, and at that point, I was like, F him, this guy still sucks. Like that's when my hope was lost for Dave. But then he turned it around. And that was one of my other top moments, surprisingly, because I'm not a huge Dave fan. In fact, the opposite. But the fact that he both times refused to really cooperate in what was going on was refreshing. And now it's the classic love triangle. Like we couldn't just have a love pair. It had to remain a triangle somehow, and he was so out of the running for that, like, the end of Fourth Wing, the beginning of Iron Flame, that now like he's gonna be back in the running, kind of.
So he did some redeeming.
He did. So we're gonna have more Dave in the future, is my guess.
It's a pretty good guess, yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Was there anything else we wanted to talk about in terms of torture scenes? Also, I would go back to the RSC thing about how dropping them in the woods and giving them two different maps.
Hilarious
And apt. I will point out that our beloved Roof Mr. Slaya got a hearty chuckle out of that as somebody who's had combat training experience, and said that absolutely tracks. So yeah.
I'm glad that it was realistic.
Yeah, because it felt like it to us civvies. So,
although now that I'm thinking about it, because I've done like a video about Rebecca Yarros on TikTok, but it was like 2 years ago. But I'm pretty sure she is a military wife. Like I think her husband's in the military, so she might also have like some knowledge of how that would go. Different branches interacting, whatever. Yeah. So that's.
But even if you take out the military piece, just take two people who think they're king shit on Turd Mountain in their respective fields.
Yeah.
meaning the infantry cadets and the flying cadets. Any two groups of people who think, they can do no wrong and they know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. During that
Doesn't
training,
take much.
it doesn't. While that was hilarious, during the training, I think one of the best moments with Rhiannon happened, if I'm remembering right. She like relieved Violet. It was just like, that was one of the moments where she's like, whenever you're ready, like, I'm right effing here. Like, I know there's something wrong with you and you're not telling me. And so she was just a persistent friend, even though Violet was consistently pushing her away. And not only that, but as her squad leader or whatever, she's like, you need to sleep, so get the hell out of here. I'm going to take your watch.
And I'm glad that it was Rhiannon that got it and not Violet. I also like the fact that the author addressed it, you know what I mean? And had the conversation so that everybody knows that there's no hard feelings. Like Violet didn't have designs on the role and doesn't secretly resent Reed for having it. Or I was glad that was addressed, because ambition happens between women just as much as it does between men. Yeah, so I thought it was good that was touched on. And going back to what you said about her finally giving in and finally opening up to them, I really liked Rhiannon's reaction to the information, and that she continued to be thoughtful and mindful and like, okay, well, that is a lot, and holy shit, you've been carrying this all by yourself.
And I'm not even mad. And also, how are we going to fix this?
Yeah.
It's like, good. She's such a good friend. I don't know. She's great. Big fan of Rhiannon. I have to say this also. So today I was looking up the just chapter summaries so I could like scroll through and remember like big events or whatever. And because I'm on audiobook, it is hysterical to me how things are spelled. So, for example, Barish's dragon. Oh gosh, Solus. The way she says it in audiobook, to me, I thought it was spelled soulless. SOULLESS. And I'm like, well, that tracks because that dragon sucks.
He's clearly got no soul.
So I heard soulless and immediately thought, I also, up until today, I thought Zayden was spelled ZAYDEN. But of course it's an X. Just because
that's why when we started the first book, I was like, I don't actually know how to say it.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Zadin. Zadine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's not even just an X. It's what, XADYN or something?
Nope, there's no Y. It's XADEN.
Oh, it is E. Okay. I was getting C. Like,
but still, I'm like, I think it's
Exadin. Yeah. Anyway, so every time I see things written,
so physical book readers versus audiobook reader problems. It's true no matter which series you're reading.
It is so.
I can't pronounce anything, and you can't spell anything.
Yeah, because there was another dragon. Is it Mira's dragon? Is one of them was in its name's Tiny? I think one of the dragons at some point its name is Tiny, or at least that's how the audiobook narrator pronounces it. And I thought it was the best
a new one on
dragon name. And maybe it was somebody in Fourth Wing. It could have been, like, I just remember there being a dragon called Tiny and it made me laugh. I can't remember why, when, and what context.
I definitely don't remember all their names, so.
Well, I'm sure it's not spelled Tiny, so you probably pronounced it differently. But okay, so speaking of the torture, so we haven't talked about the fact that Varish was trying to burn Violet out at one point, and so I think this is my fifth. I'm pretty sure I've done all my favorite moments when Taryn took Solus and just shredded him.
Literally the top of my list. It's the top of my list.
Get him! I was so relieved.
And I don't know what it is, but when Taryn goes savage, I dig it. Because I'm like, these are incredible, magical, mysterious creatures. Like, we still don't know where the Empyrean stands on the ward, the wars, and all of these other things. Like, we just take it for granted that they're there. And I did love the few times through the first half of the book where they're like, you do not command dragons. Like, and you would not be a dragon rider without a dragon. I do like those little reminders. So him grabbing Solus, and in my mind, he shook him like a rat, like a dog, a terrier.
Like the
I know that's
Hulk
not really
in
how it was
Avengers.
described on the page. Yes, I know that's not how it was described on the page. I don't care.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's what he did.
And it was so satisfying. So satisfying to read. Big
because
fan.
if you are, I understand that they don't command the dragons, but if you are bonded to a rider, the fact that it's normalized that they can just kill cadets.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. Yep. So go Tarn.
Yes.
Woot, 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 woot. Also, I guess we haven't talked about this. Andarna, what's taking so long? Why do you think it's taking so long?
Why is she still sleeping? I think she's special. I do love the fact that she is black. So I love the fact that she has big, beautiful black scales that border on purple. I loved that description. And I wrote down that so she's black now, so she really is toothless. We had a conversation,
so
like I had pictured her kind of like toothless, just furry instead. And now she's even black. So
she is toothless. Although my prediction, not really a prediction, but like she's going to be bigger than Tarn.
I'd like to think so.
That would be amazing. Because she's not Tarn's, right? There are very few black dragons, but they're biggins from what I remember.
And Tarn and
Sigale.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's how you say that.
Yeah.
Tarn and Scale have both gone on the record a couple of times and said, no, we just looked after her.
Right. And so I'm just curious because also like, is she special? Was the time stopping thing like ultra powerful? And obviously that's changing.
Right.
Like, we don't know what the signet is going to be.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, but yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that Violet's going to have 2 signet powers.
Yeah, and what the hell does that look like?
Yeah, we've got a lightning wielder and
TBD. So I thought that the whole point is that the feather tails, I might be misremembering. I guess I had thought that any feather tail can do the time stop.
I don't
or
think
was it
so.
special
I think
to
it was
Andarna?
I thought it was just Andarna. Like as if I could have swore like Feathertails could, like, they had power and they could transfer the power to their riders. But it's not the same power in all of them.
So it's like a signet in that way.
It's like a signet in that way. So will her signet relate to time? Oh my gosh, what if she could turn back time?
What if she's a time traveler? Like, what if she's able to go back and see her dad?
If you're just listening, the faces we just made.
Prediction. That's a joint prediction. We both get credit.
Okay, we're time traveling demons, time traveling dragons. Pretty excited about that.
That'd be awesome.
If it's the case, I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited for her to wake up.
That, like, because she said something about, I could have sworn my dad told me about something. Now I wish I could remember. There was something in the last 3 chapters, probably before the torture. She made a comment about, I could have sworn my dad had told me about X, Y, or Z. I'm going to have to go back and look now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not coming to mind. Huh. So how, like, are we going to have to wait till the end of the book for her to come back? Or is it going to be like we had to wait for like the chapter right after the midpoint for the sex scene in Fourth Wing?
Yes.
And is Andarna going to come back? Like,
I would love it if Andarna finally wakes up in chapter 36. I would be so okay with that.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that it was well done writing her with, kind of a bitchy teenager voice. It's good. Just better, and Taryn basically saying it's just better for everyone if she just sleeps. That was real teenager vibes, and I dug it.
Yeah, same. It was pretty funny. And also another voice that I found funny was Violet's drunk voice. At one point, Violet gets drunk and then she's all slurry. At least that's how the audiobook narrator did it, and it was pretty funny.
Excellent.
Another moment that I thought she was so effing stupid, but I guess I understand, was when the mender or the healer, what Grady? No, who was it? Who gave her the drink? Nolan gave her the drink.
Yeah.
I wanted to punch him right in the noggin. But also,
Yeah.
never accept a drink from literally anyone that you didn't see poured.
So the second they gave, so for the first abduction, the second she just blindly drank and mentioned a weird aftertaste, I was like, ooh, bad
Son of
cat.
a gun. But then,
But then she did it again, like 3 more times. I'm like, stop drinking things that people hand you.
Yeah. Only things that you bring yourself or people
Stop
that
it.
you trust with your life. But then there's that exception. She trusted Nolan with her life.
Nolan, I know. I know. The other thing about that, which I've shared all of my top 5s, but I have a little bit left in terms of predictions. So
okay.
In that vein, in chapter 25, because I went back and looked it up because I'm insane. Because it was such a random moment. I'm like, this has to matter. I don't even remember what they were doing in chapter 25. Legitimately, I don't remember. But it was a hooded scribe walked by, and she looked to see. It looked to see, but she couldn't see who it was beneath the hood, and she thought it was strange because scribes usually only come for 2 reasons. And then she nothings it, and it's never brought up again.
I've got goosebumps. Because, what the hell was that? I noticed it too, but I was like, okay.
And then my last prediction is with chapter 35, at the end of chapter 35, throughout chapter 35, they're being called for leadership. Leadership's like, we've got to go, we've got to go, we've got to go. I am still holding on to, with a death grip, that Mama Sorengale is going to redeem herself. So somehow she's calling all leadership away to try and give her daughter a chance to escape.
Oh, that would be such a relief.
I don't even know if it would be enough, but I'm hoping.
Honestly, it goes a long way, right? If she's using her power, her military rank, in order to save Violet, that does quite a bit for me to redeem her personally.
So that was all my bullets. The hooded scribe one, though, I was particularly proud of because if you just mention it in passing, I read so fast.
That sometimes,
just goes right
not
over. I
this
was like,
time.
wait a minute,
not this time.
What are you doing here? Who are you?
Okay, so it sounds like we've covered our top 5s and we've covered our predictions, and I've gloated about my correct prediction.
As you should.
As I should. Jack Barlow lives for some reason.
Fucking Jack Barlow.
For some reason. So what we do in every episode is pick an MVP, and we've also started for Fourth Wing picking follow-up, like runner-up MVPs, right? So the runner-ups get a half a point, the MVPs get a point, or the runner-ups get 1 point and the MVPs get 2 points. Doesn't matter, but you get it. So Jessica, who do you have as your runner-up this episode?
Okay. So we do our drum roll. My runner-up is gonna be Rhiannon again, just because she's so damn awesome.
She is awesome.
She really is. I almost gave it up for Imogen just because she did a lot more in the first half of this book, and acted as substitute friend, and did it in a slightly snarky way, which I can appreciate. She's like, you've got 5 minutes. Since you're not talking to your real friends, you've got 5 minutes. Oh, I forgot. I don't care about that. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated the tone of it, and all of that. The running montages worked for me. But Rhiannon really delivered.
Yeah, she was a great friend. And I guess we didn't really talk about the PTSD of it all. That running throughout Violet's experience, this first half of the book, was very realistic. I think it hit. And when she kind of explained her feelings to people, when she finally kind of let them gush out of her, it felt really, really real. And the fact that she started running because she had witnessed somebody who couldn't run fast enough get incinerated or whatever, all of it was really well done, I thought. That's all. Because, since you mentioned Imogen. Okay, my runner-up is Jacinia.
Okay.
our bestie scribe, because without her, nothing. We don't know about where the vault is. We don't know, like anything about anything. She's the book getter. She's also like not told anybody about Violet's studies this whole time, so she's a real one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really like her. I love the fact that you can be incredibly important while not being a fighter. So, big fan of Jacinia. That look on your face made me, it's making me suspect something. So let's see if it is what I suspect. Jessica, who is your MVP for this episode?
Well, with a lead up like that, my MVP is absolutely Jacinia.
Okay.
I am always loving to meet a character whose value is not derived from their physical prowess or anything else. And I love the fact that Jacinia is introduced to us in a very similar light as Violet, as like the archives and the scribe lifestyle as a whole is almost monastic, almost religious.
Mm-hmm.
And Violet eventually presented her, as well as what you were saying, right, about her being a real one and being a good stand-up friend and adding value and being incredible without having to be like a hero, a dyed-in-the-wool hero. All of that, but also then above and beyond that, eventually Violet presents her with information that really can rock her worldview, and she receives it critically and attacks that as a separate problem with resilience and with an open mind. And I thought that was huge, and spoke to the power of critical thinking and like, I live in an information world, and what do I do when I have to question my sources of truth, and what does that mean to me, and how I fit into this cosmos.
Yeah.
So I totally give it up for Jacinia.
Okay. Hell yeah. Big Jacinia fan this book.
Yeah.
Okay,
How about for you?
Well, since it's not Jacinia, this one's a funny one because I don't think we have picked dragons yet. But mine is Taryn.
Nice.
No, I think it was partially because of the just absolute yes moment of him finally taking out, like, threatening Solus and putting what's his face, the mean guy, help me out, Varish on his knees. That was so good.
I highlighted it because anytime they say on your knees,
I know,
I'm like, oh my god,
highlight that shit. So that, how he's so like protective and funny of Violet, like they went on that trek or whatever over to meet the rebels and make the drop, and then Violet gets this tinge of jealousy and he's like, you had 2 dragons pick you, she has none. Like he's just so like practical and primal in some ways. I don't know, I just really appreciate him. Not to mention, this isn't like him necessarily, but there's this one moment that I really love where Violet saw Taryn and oh my god, Zayden's dragon, Sigale. Taryn and Sigale walking off together and their tails were swishing in unison, and then she thought it was really cute, and it was cute just to like hear.
Super cute.
So I big time appreciated Taryn this, and I Violet did some awesome things, but she also annoyed me a lot, and so
he is her own worst enemy in so many ways, so which is so relatable.
So I didn't make her my MVP just because she made me mad just as much as she made me holler. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Pick Taryn my number 1. And I feel good about it.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like we've done our top 5s, we've done our predictions, we've done our MVPs. We didn't have any questions sent in. We did have, like you said, Roof Mistress Leia shared some of her takes, which were awesome and honestly very similar. So I would say, on behalf of both of us, invite you again, if you have any other questions that you would like to ask, or vibes, or anything that you'd like to share with us for the back half of the book, maybe about our predictions today or not, please feel free to message us in our various places, and please do it by DM, and please be mindful of spoilers where you can. But yeah, we still would love to hear you. We're both really excited to get to the rest of this book. So if you have any questions for us, please share them. So with that, we will be going into the back half of this book. We will be reading from chapter 36 onward, and we will be dropping that recording to you for September 2nd. So that'll be Labor Day weekend-ish. So yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. I want to, wrap us up by saying thank you so much for tuning in to our 5th episode of season 5 of But Are There Dragons, brought to you by your hosts, Jessica Sadai and Kritter XD. Please don't forget to follow us at But Are There Dragons on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and But Dragons Pod, just one T, on X. You can also find your host on social media as Kritter XD and Shelf Indulgence. That's it for us today. Thank you so much. We will see you on September 2nd with our wrap-up of Iron Flame. Bye! Bye!